That is a nut down there. Oh yeah, that is just nasty. This is no garbage. Now what? That's probably the hardest part of the job. Everything has to be difficult, including my wife. Alright, welcome back to the channel. So today we are doing a front main seal on the truck. It's leaking pretty badly, and it's about time I address it. So to get the fan off the truck, you need a 1 7/8 wrench that's really narrow, which I don't have. You can also use a air hammer with an attachment that's 1 7/8, which I don't have either of those. So the other thing that you can do is if you have some steel, you can just cut a wrench out, and that's what we're going to do here. So I have some marks lined up. We are going to cut the wrench shape out, and then I might bring this inside and actually cut the open box end of the wrench, and then we are going to see if that takes the nut off. Okay, so I got it cut out. Hopefully this works. I guess I will grind it down. That is the nut down there. Oh, you've got to be kidding. It is too thin. I have to cut a second one and weld it onto here. Just make it slightly thicker. What?
I just feel like this is very like...
Redneck? Oh, very, but it'll work. There we go. And that's not bending, so we're gonna give it a shot. Alright, so the nut is down in there. I never actually measured how long to make this. I got pretty lucky. I did bend it when I had it on just the very end. Getting it all the way down onto there, it doesn't feel like it's bending. And I just had to take a grinding disc once I had it kind of cut out and had to open it up just a little bit more until it went on there nicely. But we're going to take the belt off first. That'll give me a little bit more room, and then we are going to try to turn that nut off. So yeah, hopefully it comes off easy. The hardest part is definitely going to be getting the fan off.
Will that take the longest?
Yeah. Getting the actual thing off is going to be pretty easy. It's just getting down to it is kind of the hard part. Because it's on the clutch, that's why you can't just like wrench on it. You have to be able to hold it. I'm not sure what the best way to hold it is. On newer ones, you can stick. Oh, maybe we can try a screwdriver. You can stick things in to that pulley to stop it from spinning, and then you can wrench on it. Oh. This is no garbage. Now what? I don't know how else to get that off. There's not enough room for a screwdriver. The issue. Need to like. Supposedly, you should just be able to kneel on the belt. And there should be enough tension that it comes off, which I can verifiably say is not true. Slightly longer.
Are you going to be able to get that screwdriver out of there?
Out of this thing?
Yeah.
We'll find out, I guess. Oh, I think I'll have it go. What the heck? I think it's free. I got it out.
Good for you.
It only marginally ruined it.
So all you need for this job is a homemade wrench and a screwdriver smashed into the end of a pipe?
Quiet. I just covered it in oil so the belt is slipping on the pulley. Now, I've done this on a 5.9 Cummins, and there are channels to be able to put a screwdriver in on the pulley and then hold it and then use a wrench to crack it loose. This, there is no hole, and I know on the Super Duty version, so the 99 and newer, they switched to one where there are holes on the pulley, and then you just put a wrench in there and it's not a problem. This, like you saw, I couldn't hold the screwdriver well enough, and I just shoved it between one of the bolts and the actual center of the fan nut, and I was able to hold it, and then it came loose. So it's loose now. That's probably the hardest part of the job. This is how I managed to do it. Welding this, it is not pretty by any means, but it worked, and it was free. So yeah, once you get that fan off, the job is pretty simple after that. On these OBS trucks, you can't take the fan shroud off separate of the fan, which is the issue. On the newer version, you can. So one thing you have to be aware of is when you're taking the fan actually out with the shroud, you do not want to hit your rad. And there's not really any room at the moment to shove cardboard in. I'm gonna see if we can do that. One thing that we do have to do is, because you have to take this out, chances are pretty high that we have to remove this, which is draining part of the cooling system. I'm gonna see if I can not do that. Take this line off and then see if I can slide it and wiggle it past. without destroying the rad. So that's the next part.
You haven't even started to do the actual job at all.
Well, that is the actual job, and this is by far the hardest part of the actual job. And it'll go back together much quicker.
I feel like that's what we always say.
Yes, I know. Putting the fan back on will be a lot easier than taking it off. Let me say that. That'll work. It's always a little bit scary to do because it'll all of a sudden just come loose and you can't really tell when. You always have to have like 2 hands on it, or else you kind of drop it into your rad. That's why I put that piece of cardboard there. Rads are expensive and they damage very easily. How long is this? There it is. Oh, don't fall down. I will have to drain some of the coolant out.
Okay, can you pass me a jug?
Okay, so what I'm doing right now is draining the coolant out. I do have to take this upper rad hose off. I'm just going to take it off the rad side and kind of hold it up. And then the fan shroud and the fan will lift out of there and we'll have access to the harmonic balancer. I did make a misstatement earlier. You don't have to take the fan belt off first to get a little bit of extra room, and chances are if yours isn't super oily, there should be enough tension on there to crack that nut loose. And the fan is on the water pump, not the harmonic balancer. So we'll get those all off soon. It is pretty bad. You can see if you look under how badly it's leaking. This is just spray from the fan coating everything. So I know that the front main seal, which is what we're changing, was leaking. The rear main actually isn't. And then I can't tell, I think the oil cooler seals might be leaking. However, because of where the fan is and where that leak is, it kind of coats everything with oil. So until I get that fixed, I don't really know where else might be leaking. My suspicion is that the oil cooler is leaking a little bit, but those 2 dots at the back, it might be the rear main. It didn't look like it was leaking at all. It looks like things have been kind of dripping there from the front and the oil running along things. But yeah, as soon as we have that coolant out, we'll keep going on this. Want to help me with something?
Yes.
You have to hold this like that. You can't be there because I'm lifting this out, so you have to stand more off to the side. Well, I'm not standing on there.
Alrighty.
Ah. Don't tell me it's also bolted to the bottom.
Is it?
No, but there's lines that I have to take off. Can you hold the fan shroud with the other hand?
Two hours for all that.
That's 2 hours?
Yeah.
Why is it always the socket that I broke that I need?
Why do you always break the socket you need is the better question.
It would be an awesome time to replace this belt.
Is it in crappy shape?
It's in horrible
Oh.
shape. So with all this room in there, this is the best time to inspect and replace your belt if you need it. We need a belt. It is beyond cracked. So we're gonna go call Napa, see if they have a belt, and call around if there's any belts available, because this is the best time to change it, and this needs changed. The next part is taking the nut off the harmonic balancer. Appears to be a 24. I'm gonna give that a try. Okay. Okay, so I have the nut for the harmonic balancer loosened off. It's still in there, just gonna back a bit. I'm gonna push on it to get the harmonic balancer out and then unscrew it a bit more. I have these 3 studs that'll go into the harmonic balancer. There's 3 holes for it for this to go onto. And then it's just wrenching on this and that should pop off. Oh, no way. This harmonic balancer part is not big enough. It's not wide enough. So we have to stop it to go into town. Anyways. So I got the bolt that's in there. It's a 24. I believe. Yeah, 24 mil socket comes off. Now it's going to put the harmonic balancer. So I have I think it's a steering wheel puller This is the shape you need for it. This one isn't quite big enough, and I went to try to find a bigger one and it ended up being too big. So now I think I have to find a way to make this work. Might have to drill a little bit more of this out, but we'll see. It's so close I might just be able to force it on there, but I wanted to come off straight, so we will try to figure out how to do that. I got it on, small on. Maybe I was just an idiot.
It's not too small?
Well, it is really doing, like, if it goes in like straight, it's pulling them all in a little bit. But we'll give it a shot. I need to get this off somehow.
Do you think this size will actually work?
Well, we'll find out. Probably won't work. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's pretty square, I guess. If I get it a little bit closer, like so. And then we take this, like so. Of course, you're gonna fight me like so. Everything has to be difficult, including my wife.
Everything in mechanics is difficult.
Well, I just said what I meant, so. Hopefully that could be a long enough bolt. Oh, and the whole stud is turning. Cool. I guess that's alright. Can you pass me the big one, please? Sometimes what you can see, this thing isn't quite straight. What you can do is with these is adjust it so that it's a little bit more straighter.
Right.
And that's pretty good. We'll give that a whirl. Okay, so I just started wrenching on the harmonic balancer and it started coming off quite easily. I do have the center bolt in there right now, just to get it going. I'm gonna take that out and put the big flat washer back in, and then we will finish taking it off. So at this point, one thing that you can take a look at to make sure that it is actually your front main is this piece right here. So this gasket could be where you're getting an oil leak from. That is part of the high pressure oil system, and there's a gasket there. You can take a look when you have everything together, just double check. If it's oily quite up high, then you know it's that one. Although the front mains on these do go often, just because you also have the oil pump as part of that. So just double check to make sure that you have the right gasket. Makes a big difference. If I was an actual mechanic doing this type of thing, it would actually drive me insane. Tedious, boring stuff. But most mechanic shops don't even have the correct color anymore to do this job either. There, see, now it's off. So that's part of the issue is why I had a hard time getting this off. There is a ton of silicone in there. The previous owner knew that it was leaking and had put a ton of silicone in there, and so it's just a little bit more stuck from that. So I'm gonna have to clean that off. I'm gonna have to inspect in there how much silicone he crammed up into there. The one that we have does have a sleeve to go onto the crankshaft, so we will put that on next once we get everything cleaned off. Once we get the actual front main off, which is the next thing to come off. I'm just full of crap, that is. Oh yeah, that is just nasty. Okay, so the next thing is 4 bolts to take off the oil pump where the front main is, and then to replace it. If you look into our engine bay, you can just see it's probably been leaking for years and it hasn't been changed. So it is just disgusting. I can't even see where the bolts are because it's so caked with oil and dirt on the road. In hindsight, it would have been better to take this pulley off as well. Gives you quite a bit more access to where the front main is sitting. It would have been easy to do when you have the belt on. And as you saw there, I just threw a pair of channel locks onto it and it came off pretty easily. But doing this will allow you to have a lot more visibility under there. I really need to clean mine off. So getting under there, cleaning everything off before you take that front main off is quite important. Now I can see a lot better. And you can come in here and take a look at how gross this is. Yeah, so all of this grossness up here.
Oh, that is really gross, actually.
Putting everything back together would be a lot easier, just because I don't have to fight with it. So heavily siliconed on. It'd be quite fun to get off. You should have seen, there is so much gasket maker shoved on there. Instead of doing
So annoying.
Instead of doing the job the right way. Can you grab me a rag, please?
Oh.
And this thing is so covered in oil, I just can't get it out. So this is the housing for the front main. If it comes out with a gear on it, that is part of the oil pump. Now it is kind of stuck in there just because how slippery it is, but you want to just throw that back onto the truck. So there is a inside and outside, and it's clearly marked on there. So as you can see, this is marked out. It goes on with the out. Okay, I'm gonna clean this up because it needs it really badly. And then we will start getting this seal out of here. Yeah, there's a seal. Obviously, yeah, there's a seal.
Like,
it wouldn't surprise me with how badly it was leaking that there wasn't a seal, but it's pretty much shot. Like, completely shot. Oh.
Oh, that's so gross. Look at this.
Yes. Yeah, no, these are good pants.
How are they good pants?
They're good garage pants. It'd be so satisfying just put this in your hair. I have to mind to turn on the wash tank and clean it. Actually might. This is our Varsol tank. This is typically how we clean a lot of our parts, and this was bad enough that I wasn't able to just wipe it off. So we're gonna give it a good clean. Too bad I can't put the whole front of the truck in the Varsol tank. It's already considerably cleaner. Alright, so now we're gonna try and get that out. Old seal is now out. So we are going to finish cleaning up in here. We're going to come back in the morning. We are going to use the press with the new gasket, just press it on there. And it was flush with that, so we're just going to put it flush with it again. And then ours also came with a sleeve to repair the mating surface, so we're also going to put that on. Okay, so it's the next day. We're gonna finish off this job here today. Putting it back together should go a lot smoother than taking it apart. So this next step that we're on is preparing the housing right here for the new seal to go on. We're gonna push this on right here. This O-ring, I didn't get a new one, so I'm just gonna reuse this. It seems pretty decent. It'll go in here, and I am gonna put a little bit of silicone on there, put on there. So I've gone ahead and cleaned the mating section for this to go on. It's all cleaned and ready for installation. This next step is putting the new wear ring on. This won't work without the wear ring, and this is right from Ford, so it all goes together. But what we have to do first is take the old wear ring off the harmonic balancer, which is what I'm doing here. So there's two ways to do this. You can take a Dremel and cut it off, and once it's cut, it'll just fall off. If you don't have a Dremel, you can use a sharp chisel and just kind of carefully hammer it, and it's coming off pretty easy, so I'm just gonna finish doing that. Okay, and just like that, it's off. And you gotta be careful not to damage the surface of the harmonic balancer. Ours is pretty good. It doesn't have to be super perfect. Again, it's not the mating surface for the seal, it's this actual wear ring. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the rest of this harmonic balancer to get it ready. There is a indexing groove here that matches the crankshaft. Mine is full of silicone because of course the previous owner stuffed silicone everywhere he could. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that out. Okay, so we're gonna start installing the wear ring. There is a direction to it. There's a beveled edge that you want sticking up because that's gonna be the first part to go through the seal, and that beveled edge will help it slide in nicely. I need to find a way to push that on. Okay, so I have pounded on the wear ring to where it's flush with the top of the harmonic balancer. You could try using a massive socket to get over this. I wouldn't because you might bend it and there's not a whole lot of room on this. You can try using the old wear ring on it, but it probably won't work. The best way is to reinstall this housing without any of the seals or gaskets in it yet, and then push on the harmonic balancer with the nut, and that'll set this where it needs to be, and then you have to pull the harmonic balancer back off. It's kind of sucky, but that's how we're going to do it. We're not going to do that. I have a different idea. Another way that I just thought of that you could do this is if you have a hydraulic press like what we have, you can set this up, put it on here, and then press on this surface, pushing the wear ring on. It's the same effect, other than this way you don't have to use the puller to pull the harmonic balancer back off, and it's just a little bit easier. So that's if you have a hydraulic press, that'll make the job a lot easier. Let's set this up. If you are using the hydraulic press, go slow, take it off and look to make sure that everything's lining up straight. And so far it seems to be working pretty good. See how it's going on nice and straight and even? We're going to check to see if it's all the way down. Yep, I got this pushed all the way in. So as you can see, it is flush with this next collar where this piece rides on. Next is going to be pushing on the seal. still tight, pushed it a lot of the way in just by my hands, trying to get it started, just slipped in pretty good. I just used a block of steel and a hammer. It's just supposed to be flush with the housing. So it's nice and flush, and it is just ready to be installed. So I have also wiped with Varsol the mounting surface in there that this is going to go onto. Want to clean it with something, but we are ready to install now. We're just going to put a thin layer of silicone on here, pop it on, tighten it down, and then we're going to get ready for the harmonic balancer. Okay, so I've got some silicone on here. It's set up for a few minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on. Didn't take a whole lot. We don't want to create a whole lot there, just quite a thin layer just to help seal it. So there is a direction to put this on. The words on the housing go at the top. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we're gonna put on the harmonic balancer. I have the housing on, got it on pretty easily. When you put the harmonic balancer on, there is this groove in there that has a match where you put it on the crankshaft. So you might be putting it on and twisting it around, but you have to remember that you have to seal there. So you wanna try to be as careful not to cut or break that seal as you can. If you did unplug the crankshaft sensor like we did, this is the best time to put it back in so that you don't, one, forget it, and two, there's just a lot of room right now. Okay, so I just got the harmonic balancer on. I got it on as far as I could with my hands, hit it a little bit, and then I did use the hammer going sideways on it like this to try to get a little bit more on. The bolt with the washer's too thick to grab it, so I found this washer that I had. It was the right size, and I was able to push the balancer on enough to get the normal size washer on. So that's all on there, ready to go. Now, if you took off the water pump pulley, this would be the time to put it back on. And we're going to put the belt on. We did get a replacement belt. Tighten these bolts down, and then it will be time for the fan and the shroud. To do belts, especially on this, is frustrating regardless. Always hated doing them.
I'm so bad if you like punctured the rat or something like that.
Yes, don't say that. We all know how bad it would be. Use our archaic tool.
Our Stone Age invention.
It worked, did it?
It worked, and it was in fact cool.
I thought you would expect your husband to be able to do stuff like this by now.
Crappy welding job on makeshift wrench.
Alright, next time we make a tool, you can cut it and weld it. I would not want to make another one, other than see you try. I hope you're filming that. Seeing that comment I made about my wife being difficult is also going on the video, because that would be funny. Fire her up. So just looking at the little bit of oil pools that we have here, kind of tell us what might else be leaking. So this one was right underneath what we were working on. When we pulled that housing off, it drained a bunch of oil. These ones along the front here are from oil running on the axle, as well as this one comes off the axle. Now these ones over here, I'm not sure if they are coming from the oil cooler or from oil blowing back onto the cooler, because this side is all kind of covered as well as up here. This one back here might be the rear main leaking. It didn't look to be leaking. There's a lot of oil that's running along the sides of the oil pan from the front. So now that I have that cleaned up, I'm gonna double check that it's not leaking anymore. And then we are gonna go and wash that area, wash as much of that off. Thinking I'm gonna do the oil cooler seals anyways, and I can inspect that, eliminate that. Because I'm gonna say that they are probably leaking and then readdress that in the future. Looking like we might have to do a rear main here, but I might just be able to save that until we do the manual swap. Okay, so that was the video today, changing the front main. It did take us a little longer just due to some issues getting things off, some tool issues. I did expect to make this thing going in, just didn't give myself enough time. It's really not a hard job, you just have to have the right tools. The most important tool is going to be the harmonic balancer puller, as well as whichever way you plan to get the fan off, but it's a pretty simple job other than that. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like and subscribe. More to come.
Love that tool.